I should have known something was wrong when Marcus couldn't stop laughing while giving me the address. My so-called best friends had been planning this for weeks, apparently. A blind date with someone they swore was perfect for me. But the way they kept exchanging glances and suppressing smirks should have been my first clue that I was walking into some kind of setup. They'd been on my case for months about my dating life, or lack thereof. After my ex left me for her personal trainer, I'd thrown myself into work, convincing myself that relationships were a distraction I didn't need. I was a software engineer pulling 60-hour weeks, living on coffee and takeout, telling anyone who asked that I was perfectly fine alone. My friends saw through it, of course they always did. The restaurant they chose was nice enough, an Italian place downtown with soft lighting and too many candles. I arrived 10 minutes early, my palms sweating despite the cool autumn air. I'd worn my best shirt, the navy one my sister said made my eyes look less tired. I was nervous, which annoyed me. This was probably just another disaster waiting to happen. Then I saw her walk in, and my heart stopped. She wasn't what I expected. She moved with a careful deliberation, her white cane sweeping gently in front of her as the hostess guided her toward our table. She was beautiful, with dark hair pulled back and a genuine smile that seemed to light up the dim restaurant. But it was the realization that crashed over me like ice water. My friends had set me up with a blind woman, literally blind. This was their idea of a joke. Rage burned in my chest. How could they be so cruel? To both of us. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly, ready to apologize and leave. To text Marcus and tell him our friendship was over. But then she spoke. You must be Daniel. I'm Alina, and before you say anything, yes, I know your friends are idiots. Her voice was warm with amusement, not hurt. They thought it would be hilarious to set up a blind date with someone who's actually blind. Real creative, right? I froze, my anger deflating into confusion. You knew. Your friend Sarah called me yesterday to confess and apologize. She felt terrible. Said she tried to talk the guys out of it, but they were convinced it would be funny until she made them realize how awful it actually was. Alina settled into her chair with practiced ease. They wanted to cancel, but I said no. I was curious. Curious about what? I asked, sitting back down slowly. About whether you'd stay or run, whether you'd see a person or just a disability. She tilted her head, as if she could see straight through me despite her unseeing eyes. So far, you haven't run. That's something. We ordered food, and I fumbled through the menu reading, expecting awkwardness. But Alina put me at ease almost immediately. She told me about her work as a music teacher, about the student who'd just performed her first recital, about the guide dog she was training with on weekends. She asked about my job, and somehow made debugging code sound more interesting than it actually was. I'd expected pity, or to feel like I needed to treat her differently, but Alina demanded nothing of the sort. She had opinions about everything from the overpriced wine to the state of public transportation. She made me laugh with a story about her grandmother trying to use voice commands on a smart speaker. She was sharp, funny, real. Can I ask you something? I said, halfway through dessert. Most people ask if I've been blind my whole life. The answer's yes, by the way. Genetic condition. That wasn't my question. I said softly, why did you really come tonight? You could have let them cancel. Alina was quiet for a moment, her fingers tracing the edge of her coffee cup. Because I'm tired of people making assumptions about what I can and can't do, what I can and can't be. Your friends thought this would be a joke, and I wanted to prove them wrong. But also, she paused, a small smile playing at her lips. Sarah said you were kind, that you'd been hurt and closed yourself off. I know something about building walls. And did I live up to the hype? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. You stayed, she said simply. You're still here. That's more than most people do. Something shifted in that moment. The restaurant noise faded, and it was just us, two people who'd been set up as a punchline but found something real instead. I reached across the table, then hesitated, unsure. It's okay, Alina said, extending her hand. Our fingers intertwined, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. 6 months later, I stood in that same restaurant, in that same spot, holding a small velvet box. Alina sat across from me, radiant in the candlelight she couldn't see, but somehow always seemed to glow in any way. My friends were there too, Marcus and Sarah watching from a nearby table, no longer laughing but crying. I need to thank your friends, Alina had told me once. They gave me the best joke that ever happened to me. As I knelt down, my voice shaking, I realized she was right. Sometimes life's greatest gifts come wrapped in the most unexpected packages. Sometimes the universe uses cruel intentions to deliver perfect moments. And sometimes, the best thing that ever happens to you starts as someone else's idea of a laugh. She said yes, of course, and my whole world changed again, just like it had that first night when I chose to stay.